Venezuela. I've been wanting to talk about Venezuela for the last couple of weeks. I've been seeing in headlines that we have moved up military personnel to the Caribbean. That was about like 4 weeks ago. So we moved up a couple of boats, basically signaling that we might get into some military action. Come about 3 weeks ago, we took our first strike on a couple of boats within the Caribbean. The reasoning for this is that Trump gave two reasons. One is that we're attacking drug cartels that's operating with the Caribbean, but also within Venezuela. Venezuela denounces this. In addition to that, they're also saying that Venezuela has dumped political prisoners or prisoners in general into the states. That has not been substantiated by evidence yet. So I'm just going off the drug cartels. That's the reason. That's the reasoning behind these attacks. Now, second week passes. Another attack happens on a couple of other boats. Come to find out, it wasn't just Venezuelans that was hit, but it's also Trinidadians. So now you have a lot of Trinidadians, but also Trinidad that's ramping up and trying to come to terms whether or not this is war crimes or if this is sanctioned. Granted, a lot of UN leaders have said that this might come with some war crimes because he's not declaring war, but he's just taking a couple of attacks in the Caribbean. Now, I think it was last week, our head for the U.S. military for Latin America stepped down. I don't know why, and it's not been rumored why, but he stepped down 2 years in advance of when he was supposed to complete that position. So a big reasoning or some ideas that's coming about this is that he and maybe Pete Hegseth, who is the Secretary of the Department of War, is not really seeing eye to eye on how to handle Latin America at the moment. You know, Pete Hegseth, who's in line with the Trump administration, has been pretty adamant on being war ready. You know, they changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War, and now it's being taken out on Venezuela. So, you know, I'm going to put my thinking cap on. Why are we going to attack Venezuela, right? We do know that Venezuela and some Latin American countries has oil, Trinidad has oil as well, which is why a lot of Trinidadians might be scared that it's not just going to be Venezuela, but it might be some other countries like Trinidad. But Venezuela has oil. And I've been looking and researching a lot into this because Venezuela's government said the only reason that the U.S. is in Venezuela is because of their oil. Now, looking at the oil landscape and looking at energy landscape, I know that during Biden's term, a huge problem was that Americans did not like their gas prices shooting through the roof. So Biden made it adamant and made it a point that Ukraine does not attack Russia's energy fields. Why? Because if they attack Russia's energy fields and Russia's oil supply goes down, it makes it much more expensive for the world's oil because Russia's a huge exporter of oil. I think about 10% of crude oil comes out of Russia for global production, which is a lot. That is a lot. Don't let me lose you. So that was a big point in Biden's term, was to make sure that they do not hit any energy fields, because if that does happen and those oil prices rise up, then Americans are going to be pissed. Now, I don't know if you've been seeing, but in the last couple of weeks, in the last couple of months, Ukraine has attacked energy fields in Russia, and they've been targeting it. And with the latest missiles and stuff like that they've been talking about, those are their targets, is those energy fields. Now, if that still is a problem, that energy prices may rise if they attack Russia, then Trump needs to have somewhat of something in his back pocket. Now, there's been most amount of applications, I'm pretty sure, in years that's been granted to oil drillers in the States as well, not just in the States land, but also on native land and in Alaska. So the idea is that Americans are going to start drilling a lot more this year and into the next couple of years. So we have those reserves in case that those Russia prices inflate. But let's say if those reserves go out, or that only lasts us for the next couple of years and we still have to wait on production, maybe having a country that is going to give us some cheap oil, or we're going to give us some cheap oil, having that in our back pocket isn't the worst thing, you know, think as like a world leader. So I don't know. I'm not alleging that that's the reason as to why the U.S. is in Venezuela, but I would definitely say that could be an alarming point as to why we might be there. And, you know, knowing U.S.'s history, I mean, Guatemala, Chile, Egypt, China, India, rumored to be Ghana. But these are all reported places that the CIA has been and has committed maybe some coups in some of those countries. Democratic Republic of Congo, right? This is declassified information stuff, right? So like we know that the U.S. history and CIA's history has been a part of many coups in different nations, and with President Maduro, who is going up against Trump now, who's saying, I don't want regime change, I don't want war. Why is Trump continuously attacking him if he's willing to work with Trump to rid out the cartels? I ask these questions to myself. So I'm not alleging nothing. I'm just saying that typically the reason why we intervene a lot is because those countries may have resources that we want. And in this situation right now, Venezuela has a huge resource that we may want. And in 30 years, when it might get declassified, that the CIA is in there. Oh, my fault to say that as well. Trump has confirmed that the CIA has been in cahoots or has done action in Venezuela already. This was like reported like a week ago. So we're going to war with Venezuela. We don't know the reason why, but a big reason a big reason that could be coming, and also what Venezuela has said is that it's because of oil. Now, in other news, I hope y'all doing good out there. Let me slow it down. Hope y'all doing good out there. How's y'all weeks, man? How is y'all week? My week has been pretty good. October's ended. My birthday was 4 days ago. So, had a great celebration. I read for a while. So that was good. It helped me calm myself down. But my mind low-key has just been on business. It has just been on business. And getting these clips out. Also, I just hired an editor. So a lot of clips are coming out. Hopefully they're not too incendiary because I'm not handling them. But hopefully y'all are seeing some cool stuff come out on your timelines and whatsoever. And how y'all weeks, put it in the comments, of course.